bunch of people who have been involved with us, but the tight-knit group is basically the four of us: Colin, Moses, myself, three of us, I guess. It's brought us together really tight, and we really care about each other a lot, and that's through skateboarding. We travel all over the world together, which is great, me and Colin especially. Sluggo, I'd only been skating about 3 months, and I didn't look like a skateboarder. I looked like this little, I wore boat shoes, and I'd go to the skate park, and I had a little spiky hair, and I was really short. I'm talking 4'6", and I had no say. Anything the kids said at the park about me is what they said about me. So the best kid at the park goes, "Hey, you look like Sluggo." Because he was the best, everyone's just like, "Yeah, you're Sluggo," and it's stuck. It's been with me for 14 years. As far as inventing tricks, I guess I was pretty much tied for one of the first guys to do tail grab 5s, varial reverts, which is a pretty hard trick. Backside 360s, I guess I was one of the first to do 360 airs on vert. And then the one I'm known for the most recently is the backflip on vert, which I'm really, really proud of, because I have a gymnastics background. I had 10 years gymnastics when I was a kid. BMXers, inliners, and roller skaters have been doing backflips on ramp for a while, and I knew we could do it, but our board isn't attached, and we're not holding onto handlebars, so it was a definite learning curve to learn that trick, and it just took a little bit of balls. When I actually finally went for it, I knew it was possible, and within a couple weeks I landed it. Skateboarding got pretty dead in the early 90s, and I was kidding around with Colin one day saying, "Geez, I should become a pro snowboarder." So I've been up quite a bit to make some extra money. And he's like, "Yeah, I bet you can't do that." And I was like, "Bet you I can." And within a year, I had a pro snowboard. So I won that bet, and it worked out well. This is my last year pro as a snowboarder. I just getting older, and I want to concentrate my last few years that my body has to get beat up on skateboarding. So that's why I made that decision to not snowboard professionally anymore and just continue to skateboard professionally. It's just, you know, skateboarding's all about warm weather, and snowboarding's all about like cold weather. I like warm weather. No, anybody can skateboard. You'll just have your own unique style. That's the raddest thing about skateboarding. It's all about individual sport. You're not depending on a team. You're not depending on anybody but yourself. And you don't need anybody but yourself in a skateboard to skateboard. It's a great thing. Sluggo the Red Dragon. Stay tuned. You're watching ConcreteWave.
Hi, my name is Biker Sherlock. I like to ride. I love to mountain bike. I love to ride my dirt bike. Surfing is my passion. I love hunting the big waves. Basically picked up skateboarding because there wasn't waves all the time. One of my buddies said, "Hey, grab this longboard, take it up the hill, bro." And I was like, yeah, hang 10, real cool, you know, I ride vert, whatever. And then the next day he said, "Oh man, take this up the hill." And I took the board up the hill and came down a hill and just got a speed rush, and I was always a speed freak. I started going to the contests, and I kind of went the contest routes. There was a contest in LA a couple years after I hooked up with Dennis from Sector, and he called me up and he said, "Hey man, there's a contest for downhill skateboarding in LA." And I was like, "I'm there." So we went, and that's where I really first got introduced to street luge. Dregs meaning the bottom of the barrel. I thought it was great. We're the worst of the worst, but we're the best of the best. And so we ran with it. I was asked once about the team and what does it take to be on the team. And the team's not about that. The team's really about a friendship. You know, we all live down in San Diego. I mean, we all live, work, surf. I mean, our lives are intermingled.
How did you guys all meet?
In a dream.
We all triple podiumed at the Gravity Games, and we've won every event, like pretty much in the last year. If it's not me, it's Dane or Todd or John. I mean, we're just always on the podium. We dominate the sport.
Some of the luge is caught in slack because they affiliated it or people associated with skateboarding.
Yeah, I was catching slack because I was doing downhill, and I was catching slack from skateboarders. So I say to all those skaters out there, have the same open mind that you want everybody else to have, and check out what we're doing, and if you think you're so bad, go 60 miles an hour downhill, and then call me up.
I would definitely classify street luge as skateboarding, but at the same time I can see how a purist would say, well, no, it's not. But you know, downhill skateboarding is standing up on a skateboard. It's a lot different than street luge. Anybody can ride a street luge, but not anybody can do this. we have to keep looking to technology to go faster, you know? And Jared Iwanek is one of the team dregs riders, is an aerospace engineer. He works for Rancho Suspensions, and he actually developed this helmet and makes it.
Each one of these helmets is designed specifically for each rider.
This channel and these little lips create a low pressure system behind.
And these helmets are just phenomenal. This is the winning ticket for sure.
We're also wearing, you know, full leathers.
They're motorcycle leathers. They're custom fit to each rider.
There's two kinds of downhill. There's the bombing, like with this on, where you're trying to make all your corners as fast as possible. And then what we also do is just like carve skating, where we're going back and forth and sliding, putting our hands down with like Cliff Coleman gloves on and sliding on the hard plastic. I mean, that's insane. That's how you kind of learn, and you lead up to going 65 miles an hour standing up, or, you know, 80 miles an hour laying down. Street luge, you know, is on like one of these boards over here, this long 8-foot aluminum board.
Long piece of aluminum with wheels on it. Basically a long skateboard. They range in size between how much you weigh and how tall you are. You ride it like a skateboard, but you're laying down, so it's a lot faster. It's a lot more responsive to turning, and it's good fun.
Luge is gnarly. We're going down a hill that's 50 or 60. They're going down at, you know, it's 70 or 80 or 60 or 70. It's definitely 10 miles an hour faster. It's gnarly.
What I'm doing is just kind of working my body back and forth. Starting to pick up a little bit of speed, and in this section we're going to pick up a lot of speed.
In the future, you know, you're going to just see the dregs guys on the podium all the time. I mean, gravity games, X Games. Hopefully, I think the X Games will add downhill skateboarding next year.
Skateboarding. Whether you're out doing flip tricks, you know, riding half pipes, you know, any kind of skateboarding, it's all about fun.
It's all the kids out there if you're going to get into it. It's just whether you're going to be downhill skateboarding or skating a park or whatever, respect your environment. You know, just take from it what you need, protect yourself, and just know your limits.
Hey, we're Team Dregs. You're watching ConcreteWave, so stay tuned.
This board right here is from the 60s, and it's solid plexiglass. It had a light in the tail. When you turned it on, the whole board glowed this orange color. And the wheels say Knight Rider. It's called the Knight Rider. It's one of my favorite boards. This is another Hobie, brand new, in the box. We got the box for it right here. Pretty rare to find them in the box. There's the start right there. Roller skate, made into a scooter, handles. This one actually was used by the clowns in a circus in Texas. I think it's from the early 60s. Steel wheels. Typically these came from roller skates, Union roller skates. This looks like it was the front, and this looks like it was the back. And what they did is a pair of skates was good for 2 scooters or 2 skateboards. 1 pair of skates could go for you and your buddy. This scooter right here, I don't know if you can see it, but it had a little toolbox built onto the back where you could put your lunch or a soda or something. Thought that was pretty bitchin'. Here's another example where they took the handle off, and it's still a roller skate. You can see the front compared to the back. On this one, this was a strap-on roller skate where they had to take the part that went around your heel and flatten it out so they could get it to nail onto the board. Held together with a couple nails and a couple screws. I'd say this one's from the late 50s. So that was pretty typical. I think that was typical for a while. I think a lot of people actually used a 2x4 instead of just a piece of wood like this. You know, there's a whole bunch. I bet there's 100 different boards that I call the red boards, that are all red boards and are small metal wheel boards. They might say surfer or, you know, sidewalk surfer, but they're all red and they all had metal wheels. So this kind of, I think, started a trend where everybody jumped on the bandwagon after that. It just seems like this is the most popular with the parents now. Like whenever a mom comes in, this is the one they always say they had. And I think part of the reason was they made like 500,000 of them or whatever it was. Probably any collector, skateboard collector's got this board. This is one of the very first production boards where it was actually sold as a skateboard. The Ski Skater. This is from 1962. Bomac, Santa Monica. It's actually a clay wheel or a composite wheel. Not much better than the metal. I mean, maybe a little bit more forgiving, but still not much better. And these are when the trucks became adjustable. Usually with a screw here, you could adjust the tension. This board, they put the grooves in here for traction before grip tape. Kind of cool. Fleetwood, I think it's called. Have a good example here. This is a pretty rare board. It's called the Sidewalk Surfboard. And it's got the clay wheels, which are the composition wheels. They were crummy. A lot of times they would vibrate so much your foot would fall asleep, or they would get so hot, or you'd hit a rock, or they'd get so old that they'd just explode. In our collection, we have mini boards that are brand new, that are old like this. And I think it's because somebody got hurt on it, and the mom said, never again are you gonna ride that board, and she shoved it in the basement, and it sat there for 30 years. So I really think there was a lot of broken arms on some of these old boards here in the collection. I owe a lot to these crummy ball bearing wheels, because so many times you see a board that's 3 out of the 4 wheels are good, and that's what preserved the board. And what that tells me is the kid used it, the bearings fell out of the wheel, he never used it again. This is a good one. This is a Saturn. This is a garage door company that made these in the Midwest. With the scrap wood, they turned them into skateboards. This was a typical 70s board. I love this board because it's just basic. It's just a solid oak Logan with Bennett trucks, which were big time trucks. I guess there's one guy, Frank Nasworthy, who's credited with inventing the urethane, which was a much more pliable material and could go over rocks, bumps, cracks, which was part of the problem before, which made it unsafe. You hit a rock with a clay wheel or a metal wheel and you're on the ground. And I just thought this was a cool board. It just kind of, to me, said everything about the 70s. Also, the Road Rider 2 is the very first precision bearing wheel. And these are the bearings that are still used today. I mean, basically. This is also mint Quicksilver. This represented the weight. 50 kilograms. If you were 160 pounds, you'd get the 50 kilogram. If you were heavier, you'd get the 90 kilogram. It went on your weight. It had a reverse camber to it, so you could really throw your weight into the turns. After that, the boards started to get good, as I call them. And when I mean good, they got wider and were more stable and easier to ride. They were the first boards that were really rideable and functional. They were nice and wide, had a good kicktail, and they actually, some of them started to get a little concave, like the Triplanes and the Shogo Cubas. They had a little concave to them, and even a little nose. I think this was sort of the beginning of the good boards. And as a collector, these are the hardest boards to find because they were good to ride and they got thrashed and they got ridden into the ground. Yeah, I love them all. Serious. This is my whole life, is doing this stuff.
The vert ramp. Right now I'm going to drop in and do some very basic tricks. All right, drop in. Basic trick. Bumping across the flat. 50-50. Forward slide. It's a fakie hang up. 5-0 pivot. Dropping in. Backside air. 360 mute burial.
Hi, my name is Mike Pregnell and I'm not wearing a shirt. Buy Skateboard Canada Video Magazine and stay tuned to ConcreteWave.
You're watching the ConcreteWave. Stay tuned.